Hi, this is Will for Engearment on a beautiful morning in Colorado with a review of a handy dandy little device called the MSR LowDown remote stove adapter. I'd be surprised if you hadn't seen MSR's Pocket Rocket. It was the first of the little minimalist stoves, and it is a tried and true classic. There's a couple of things that we've loved about the Pocket Rocket. It just literally screws into the gas canister and you have a stove. Very small, very efficient, works really nicely. However, when you have a stove like this, as soon as you start using a big pot, it can be a little bit dicey, and if you try using it in winter, there's going to be a couple of issues. One, the canister's going to sink in the snow and probably go at an angle and everything's going to spill. And two, the canister itself never gets warm enough, and consequently the gases in it don't mix. And if they don't mix, they don't operate as efficiently as if they do mix, and you end up having gas left in the canister that you can't use. So it's a waste. So let's look at a solution for both of these things. This little handy dandy tripod allows us to have a much more stable base. I'm just going to screw my Pocket Rocket into it. So we've got a much more stable base, and if we wish to, we can now put the canister on top of the pot. Something to be wary about, be a little bit careful with, but I can tell you, if you have a small enough pot and you get your canister on it, that it will behave a lot nicer. You can also just come in and bring the canister close to the side if you're worried, and that little bit of heat that you get is going to make the burn way more efficient. Well, it is coffee time. So I'm going to turn on my stove here, but I'm going to actually operate it from here. And this is another neat feature about this, is you're not putting your hand close to the flame when you're changing the temperature. So let's let some gas out. So things to know, it comes in at just over 6 ounces because it uses the same threads as a gas canister. Any gas stove that can screw into a gas canister will work with it. And so it's one of those things that just allows you to change the way you use a minimalist stove. It just gives you that ability to extend how far your canister is from the source of heat. So I can warm up the canister if I wanted to. Don't need to today, it's a beautiful sunny day. Like I say, in winter, this thing will be a game changer. One of the things I love about this is the control you have, and it really is very precise. So I'm just gonna get a little simmer flame going, turn it up, crank up some heat, bring it back down. Often when I'm cooking in the backcountry, I'm using wood, a little wood stove. You don't have this ability to influence the amount of heat you create. Well, you can influence it, but it's not as precise and not as easy. So, neat little system. And whilst I wouldn't take it on my lightest trips, if I do have a little bit of space, not a lot. And I can carry another 6 ounces. This is definitely a neat tool to have in the bag. It's a nice sight. Boiling water. Got a nice little coffee to go in it in a minute. This is Will for Engearment.com with MSR's LowDown stove, remote stove adapter, and it really is a useful little addition to the cooking arsenal. It's got to be said, that's a great sight. This means coffee is imminent. And some addictions are just worth it. Gotta love the smell of coffee. Makes me very happy. And also MacGyvering when you can't find your spoon.